Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here speaking to you, from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. It's time to do Taroscopes. Yay, it's Taroscopes for the sign of Cancer. That's Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon, Cancer Rising for the month of January 2024. This is a general reading for Cancer. That's Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon, Cancer Rising. If you want a more specific reading on your chart, on your own chart, you can do that. I do have personal readings that I do. They're a combination of astrology, numerology, and the Tree of Life, the Kabbalah. And they're very in-depth, a lot of detail, a lot of information. Most people really enjoy them. It does take a couple of listens to really sort of, and every time you listen to the reading, you'll get something else out of it, because a lot of stuff comes through me when I'm doing the readings. I do hour and a half readings. If it's your first time, I prefer to have the extra time if you can see your way to do that. However, if that's not something that you can do at this time, this monthly reading should help. And if you want a general view of the whole year, I do have some readings out on my YouTube channel and on Patreon, of course, because I always put stuff on Patreon first, for the whole year ahead. That again is more of a general reading. So if you want something more personal to you, you would probably have to do the personal reading. Look at my hair doing all this weird stuff. I love the winter. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to look at the astrology first, and then we're going to do a tarot reading. If you're not as interested in the astrology, you can skip ahead to the tarot reading. I am time-stamping this, so you can check that in the drop-down menu as to when the tarot reading begins. So let's get started. All right, so we're looking at the sign of Cancer. Cancer, as you may know, is a cardinal water sign. Cardinal means it initiates something. So Cancers always want to start something. They don't always finish it, but they definitely start it. And your mantra is, I feel. Well, you're a Cancer, you know that. You feel everything, right? Even the things you don't want to feel, you feel, but you feel. And your ruling planet, of course, is the moon, the most variable of energies in the zodiac. One of the reasons why Cancers are quote unquote moody. The other thing I want to point out about Cancer, and I pointed this out before, is that it is the first of the water signs in the zodiac. And so it's the first time we come into contact with our feeling nature. And so it does take some practice. You would think that because you feel everything as a Cancer, you would know what you were feeling. But it takes a certain amount of taking those feelings in and digesting them. And in that process, you'll tend to go within yourself. And then when you're ready and you understand what you're feeling, that's when you come out and you say, this is what I'm feeling. So there's a waxing and a waning quality to Cancer always. And so if you are Cancer, or you want somebody to understand you as a Cancer, this would be a good thing to say to them. Give me the time I need to deal with what I'm feeling. And as soon as I know what I'm feeling, I'll be back out and I'll let you know. So don't take it personally if a Cancer withdraws from you, because it's their attempt to understand the multitude of feelings that are coming in and out. Now, this is just a general look at the chart for the year, actually. This is the chart I use when I go over the year. And I have it up because I just want to point something out. We're in an 8 vibration this year. 8 is as you sow, so shall you reap. And in the tarot, the 8 is associated with the Strength card. And astrologically, the Strength card is associated with Leo. And so the Leo energy in your chart gets activated through this 8 vibration. The 8 is also as you sow, so shall you reap. So anything you've been doing your due diligence with since 2017, that was a 1 year. Now we're in the 8 year. Things will come to fruition, and you will see things, and you will reap the benefits of the energy of the previous 7 years. Okay. For Cancer, this is in your second house, your house of your resources, your house of your sense of self-worth and self-esteem. And so if you have been working for this or well with this, you will benefit from a more positive sense of who you are and that your value as an individual. Okay, let's go to the astrology. Now, of course, as a Cancer, the moons, the lunations are especially important because the moon is your ruling planet. We have a new moon on the 11th in the sign of Capricorn. Here it is over here. This is your house of partnerships. So this is an opportunity to maybe start a new partnership, as it were, or start your partnership on a new sort of foot, as it were. And then the full moon is occurring on the 25th, and that's in Leo, in that house where, of course, we're in an 8-year. As I said, it activates that Leo house for you. And so you'll become aware of something. And of course, Leo is Leo, the moon in Leo, the sun in Aquarius at the time of the new moon is going to activate your sense of values and the values you share with others along the axis of love. So this is kind of a real sense of, especially with the new moon in your house of relationship, it's important that you're in a relationship or that the relationships that you have value you and you have a common sense of your values. You kind of have to have the same, you have to be on the same page when it comes to values with another person. If you're not, that may not be the person that you need to be in relationship with, because that's important to you. All right, let's go week by week. Week 1, we have Mercury station direct right on the 1st of the year. We do have 3 Mercury retrogrades this year. We're not going to include day 1 because Mercury goes direct very, very quickly. It goes direct in the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is your, let's see, actually, this is in the wrong place. This actually, one of these should be over here. So I made a mistake here. Should I change? You know what? I'm going to fix it because I'm like that. 1 second. I'll be right back with you. All right, let me fix that so I can show you. Okay, now I feel better. Mercury goes direct on the first day of the year, first day of the month, January 1st, which incidentally is a 10-1 vibration for the day, which means change. So things turn around first thing in 2024, which is good news because 2023, especially the end of it, oh my God, was well, anyway, that's in the past. Let's look to the future now. That Mercury direct happens in your 6th house of health, service, work, daily stuff. If you've been feeling a little bit under the weather, not quite right with Mercury retrograde in that house, things will start to turn around now, and you'll start to feel like perhaps you can move forward, and you may have a better understanding of what's been ailing you, so to speak. All right. We also have on that same day Venus, which is also in Sagittarius, making a last quarter square to Saturn. This is a crisis in consciousness. Venus is what we value. Saturn is the structure of things, the structure of our consciousness. Saturn is in Pisces right now. As Saturn moves through Pisces, we're all going through a spiritual crisis of sorts. There can be a sense of not trusting spiritual or religious authorities at this time because they do not align with your sense of what's important to you. it's more important that you go with what's important to you than what people outside of you may think, especially when it comes to issues of spirituality, issues of what is right, what is true. Okay. Um, we have it's actually a pretty nice month because we have a lot of we have quite a few squares. All the squares we have this month are questioning authority, and it's part of the individuation process. So you're sort of coming to terms with what's important to you in relationship to either what has come before. I mean, you're having a shift, you're having a change, and the major feeling you can get with these squares is one of guilt. Like, should I really leave this all go? I've worked so hard to get to this point, but this point doesn't satisfy me anymore. It's always better to go in the direction of it's actually an aspect that helps you move into the future. So it's less about what was and more about what can be and perhaps what needs to be. On the 3rd, Mars moves into Capricorn. That's your opposite house of that's your 7th house, the opposite house of your I am house. And so there's a lot of activity with relationship. In fact, most of the activity this month for you is in that house of relationship because that is Capricorn. We have the first planet to move into Capricorn is Mars. Mars likes being in Capricorn. Um, the second planet that moves in is Mercury, and then we have Venus towards the end of the month. So that 7th house is getting pretty crowded, and it is the house of the other. And so relationships are important. You're going to be working with your relationships, and it can be marriage. It's legal like partnerships. So this can be marriage, or it can be business relationships, or in some cases it can be open enemies. So there's a lot of work back and forth with that. A lot of what you're seeing sort of a lot of the work has to do outside of you, right? So you tend to be introspective as a Cancer. There isn't a whole lot of introspective energy in this chart. It really is about uh, maybe you've come to terms with who you are on the inside, and now it's about expressing that on the outside through your relationships. Week 2, we have Mercury making a last quarter square to Neptune. There can be some confusion with this. While Mercury is out of its retrograde, it's not out of its shadow. So there can be some misunderstandings, again, especially with authority, religious authority or otherwise. On the 9th, we have a trine between the Sun and Uranus. Anytime you hear the word trine, there's usually an ease of movement with a trine. And Uranus is change. So there's actually a lot of change coming through this year. And and there's change where you get the rug pulled out from under you and you fall on your face and you have to change because you've just fallen on your face and you have to get up. But the trines don't really work that way. The trines give you an opportunity. Now, they don't necessarily cause anything like a square does. Like a square creates a crisis that you have to deal with. The trine can sort of sit in the background. And so you can ignore it if you want because it's not in your face. But I wouldn't suggest you do. I would suggest this is an opportunity for change based on a better understanding of who you are, where you fit into the world, and how you're going to fit into the world. Okay, so that's important. Take the opportunities to change as they come. On, let's see, we also on that day actually have Mars make a sextile to Saturn. Now, Mars is in Capricorn, and Mars likes being in Capricorn because it benefits from the structure that Capricorn engenders in a Mars in Capricorn. And can be very ambitious. It can get a lot done, very practical, knows how to utilize its energy to the best of its ability. And it's making a sextile to Saturn, which is in Pisces right now. Now, Saturn in Pisces is a little bit of an oxymoron because Saturn is about structure and Pisces is about dissolution. But Saturn and Pisces also a spiritual mission. And so you have access and a capacity to move in the direction of your spiritual mission at this time and through this year, because it's going to be very important that we all get on board with shining our light so that we can see our way um, into a new paradigm, a new paradigm. On the 11th, we have that new moon in Capricorn, so opportunities to start new relationships or base your relationships that you have now on a better sense of who you are and what you need, and make sure that those people you're in relationship with know that if that is communicated. Okay. And of course, you also have to listen to the people you're in relationship with, because it is a two-way street. It's not just about you, but you can't forget to include yourself um, and balance that between self and others. On the 12th, we have a trine between Mars and Jupiter. This can be a little bit too much of a good thing, or you overestimate your ability to take something on. Mars is in Capricorn, Jupiter in your 11th house. Your 11th house is your house of friends and networks. You could over promise with this. Okay, you can overpromise with this. On the 13th, Mercury moves into Capricorn. I said Mercury is the second planet that moves into Capricorn, still in its shadow of its retrograde. It went retrograde back in December at about, I think, 8 or 9 degrees of Capricorn. So we do have to wait for it to move out into past that degree to be out of its shadow. All the same, things are starting to work better. There's less miscommunication. But you may not be able to pull the triggers, should I say, until it's out of its shadow. Week 3, we have a sextile between the Sun and Neptune. This is a lovely energy that brings in spirituality, brings in compassion, and brings in help for those who need the help the most. All right. On the 18th, we have Mercury making a sextile to Saturn. This helps to structure our mind in the direction of humanitarian endeavor, raising all boats and more progressive change, moving in a more progressive direction. And when I say progressive, you can say progressive / humanitarian, because the idea of progressivism is to allow everybody to have the opportunities. This isn't about giving people stuff they don't work for. It's about giving them the opportunity to work to the best of their ability, to the best of their capacity, and be able to express that out into the world to help all of us be better and to help society be better. We hold so many people back out of fear that they're going to change something. But if we would allow people the opportunity, equal opportunity, we would be in a much better position in the world, I think. On the 19th, we have Mercury make a trine to Jupiter. This is this is the third of 3 of these. The first 2 happened at the end of the year in December. This is because Mercury was retrograde at the end of the year. The trine is about free flow of energy, and Jupiter and Mercury are the energy of the mind. And so we have our logical mind and our intuitive mind working in alignment with each other in a nice flow. And a lot of what we experienced in December or at the end of the year may come to make a little bit more sense at this time. So keep your mind open for that. Again, that's the 19th. Now, the next day, we have a big shift. The first thing that happens is Sun and Pluto make their annual conjunction. And this annual conjunction is going to happen at 30 degrees of Capricorn. This is the last time that the Sun and Pluto come together in a conjunction in the sign of Capricorn. After this, all the conjunctions are going to be in Aquarius for like 20 years. So this is sort of the period at the end of the Pluto and Capricorn story. Pluto does go back into Capricorn, into that last degree from September to November of this coming year, of this year, 2024. So that's really the real period at the end of the sentence. And we will become aware of what that's going to mean, because we're going to be towards the end of this particular synodic cycle between these two planets. We'll have a better idea of what that means. But it is important. It's not going to be here for another 200 and let's say 30 years. It's not going to have the opportunity for the Sun and Pluto to come together in Capricorn, and we're going to be long gone by then. Although we might be back in some sort of other form, and you may actually be listening to me again on whatever we do in 250 years. Who knows? It's either going to be like mental telepathy, or we're going to be doing smoke signals again. I mean, we're not really sure, are we? Okay, on that same day, after the conjunction of the Sun and Pluto, the Sun moves into Aquarius. This is the start of the year of the wood dragon, the wood dragon. And so it's the beginning of the Chinese New Year's. And it's also the day that Pluto moves into Aquarius. Again, it moved into Aquarius in March of last year, and was there until the beginning of July. And so we got a little taste of Pluto in Aquarius. Now we get a much bigger taste of Pluto in Aquarius this year. And then next year, that's all we get. That's the only thing we taste is Pluto in Aquarius. So we know that these intervening years are going to be quite transformational, with a whole new sense of what it means to be powerful. Okay. All right, and Pluto now is moving through Pluto's house, actually, your eighth house, as it moves into Aquarius, where it's going to spend the next 20 years transforming the way you feel, transforming the values that you share with others, and perhaps bringing more of a humanitarian. It's almost like as a Cancer, you already have that realization. Now everybody else is going to be on your page, that same page with you. So it's good news, I think, for the sensitive Cancer, that people are going to finally realize what all the fuss is about when it comes to raising all boats. On the 23rd, we have Venus ingress into Capricorn. So Venus is moving into your house of relationship. This is actually a pretty nice thing to have happen, as Venus loves being in the seventh house. And it's time for, maybe after all this work, perhaps a little bit more fun towards the end of the month. Although not everybody thinks Venus in Capricorn is fun. Cancers do need to love their work, so there can be that as well. All right, on the 25th, we have the full moon in Leo, in that second house of how you value yourself. Very important to make sure you're giving yourself the self-care that you need. Cancers have a tendency to take care of everybody else and forget about themselves, but I'm a Cancer, and I know that when I don't want to say I expect others to take as good a care as of me as I do of them, but there's an underlying with that with Cancer. So we cannot lie to ourselves. We tend to nurture people the way we want to be nurtured. So if you happen to be a partner with a Cancer, just remember that. It'll make it much easier for everybody. Okay, okay, so we also, sorry, on the 27th, the Sun makes a square to Jupiter. This can be, it's a square, but the Sun and Jupiter, it can be exaggeration. So it could be exaggerated glee. So just try to hold back just a little bit with that. The fifth week of the month, we have on the 28th, we have Venus making a sextile to Saturn. This is progressive change and support for our ideas and the ability to move forward. We have Mercury make a trine to Uranus. This is an opening up of the mind to the higher mind. So we can get downloads at this time, a very, very psychic time. And we can also, like, if there's an issue, you're like, well, how is this going to happen? What can we do to make this happen? Because this really needs to happen. It's going to make the world a better place. It's going to make, it's going to bring aid to the people who need aid. Open up to Spirit, because Spirit has some messages for you at that time. And then we also have Venus make a trine to Jupiter, these are the two benefics. This is a really nice energy. So by the end of the month, we have some really, really nice energy to help us to move forward into the new paradigm. And then the last thing to happen on the 29th, major thing to happen, is Mars makes a waning trine to Uranus. This is an opportunity to change direction of things that maybe we didn't think we would ever change direction on. And so you can apply that to yourself, or you can apply that to the world in general. But generally a really good year, I think. I mean, a really good month for many. It's a real different from the end of 2023. All right. So we're going to do a tarot reading first, and then I'll pull a Starseed Oracle card. I'm going to use the Thoth deck because I am a Cancer and I'm willing. Are you? All right, let's see. So let's shuffle up. I want to give these a good shuffle. So what do we need to be aware of in January? The Cancers. Cancer rising, Cancer sun, Cancer moon. Now, when you're thinking, well, what's the difference between a rising and a sun and a moon? I find that the astrology works best with the rising sign, but it doesn't, I mean, you if you want to look at all three, I think it's probably, you'd get a nice rounded view of what's expected. Oh, and you'll notice that I say similar things for each of the astrology, because I'm talking about the same aspects. It's just going to act a little bit differently depending on what house it falls on. All right, one more. These cards are very stiff and they're very old. I know where to shuffle. I really struggle shuffling these. So, all right, let's see. Changes. So the first day of the year is a 10-1, which is change. Change. This is balancing. This is balancing. So this is balancing your finances and just balance in general. Finding balance, how to work with the change that's happening, how to work with the change that's happening. Your challenge is discernment, knowing when to cut your losses here, what to cut away. It's a little bit, it can feel a little bit cold, even to, especially to the Cancer who doesn't like to let go of anything. But there may be some things that you need to cut out of your life. This could be people, but it could just be ways of doing things, or the way it's always been, or a willingness to make the cuts that need to be made. Let's see what's underneath it all. We have the Knight of Wands. This is movement, this is action, this is taking your spirit and putting it out there in the world, right? Putting out your ideas, your creativity, bringing your show on the road. So what things need to be cut away so that you have the freedom, right, to move forward with your spiritual work or with your spiritual mission. In the past, we have adjustment. This is the Justice card. So justice has happened, balance has happened, something has happened to balance the scales for you in the past. In the Sky, there can be a sense of futility that everything you do, people are against. The Seven of Swords is about knowing your own mind and trusting your mind, no matter what you get back. So don't let what people say or what you're seeing in the outer world dissuade you from your spiritual mission in the immediate future. Okay. So there is peace coming. There is a point of balance. There is a point of truce. This could actually even be an actual ceasefire of some sort. You know, the United States is a cancer country. How it's seen from the outside, a change, the universe, the end of one thing and the beginning of a new. So the end of a cycle. There's an end of a cycle here. Domestic situation, happiness. Yeah, it's going to be a good month. I'm telling you. People are going to be like, hopes and fears. More of illusion, delusion. You're done with illusion, delusion. You want to see things clearly. You want to see things clear, and things are being seen clearly. So don't worry about that. And then the outcome is the hermit. The hermit is about healing. It's about shining your light. It's about the power of the one person, and how powerful shining your light can be, even if you're just one person. But this is a Virgo vibration, so it's about healing. So there's a healing happening. And in part of that, it has to do with really standing on what you believe, your beliefs, your spiritual mission. Despite what the outside world shows, there is, you're taking your show on the road. Underneath it, we have the Magnus, which is focused intention. This is the magician. So you need to continuously focus on that which you want to create and see in the world. We have the Princess of Discs, which is new opportunities, but they're in their infancy. So you will have opportunities coming up for you that you're just starting with. As you know, we just ended a cycle. Now we're beginning something new, and then the Ace of Swords again, based in truth, the truth of who you are, based in balance, and based in a clear mind. This is about becoming clear in your mind. You know what I'm getting? I'm getting that you're ahead of the curve with this. You're going to feel this before the world feels it, but because you feel it and more people start